Hi everyone, welcome to another session in Purposive Communication. For today's discussion, we will be talking about communication aids and strategies using tools of technology. Let's start. Perhaps one might ask, why use visual aids during presentation? And everyone has their own answer. Now let me ask you, can you type in your answer in the comment section below on why do we need to use visual aids when presenting or doing lectures every time we have a class? Now look at this almost blank slide with a little text. Imagine a presenter without properly following the basic principles of doing visual aids. Would that make you interested as an audience of that presenter? Perhaps some would say yes, some would say no because that's your opinion. But most of the time, presentations, visual aids actually help in retaining information and capturing the attention of the listeners and as well as the audience. I know that a lot of you has more knowledge than me when it comes to web-based or online presentations. But the most common one that is still being used today is the Microsoft PowerPoint. But in my case, sometimes I use Microsoft PowerPoint, sometimes I use Canva. Because this kind of PowerPoint help you enthrall your audience and make them understand and appreciate more your conveyed message. So it means aside from the text, you have to provide sometimes picture, sometimes graphs, etc. Or perhaps do the layout or the design of your slides. This is very important because in this topic, we will be talking about some tips when using your PowerPoint during your presentation. First reminder is that you have to minimize the number of slides. Brevity is important because if a discussion becomes too long, it becomes dragging for the learners or for the listeners. So as much as possible, with the advent of social media and the problem with attention span, it's more important if will have to limit the number of slides per presentation. For a 1 hour session, I think the advisable number of slides is 15. So yeah, well, of course, it depends on the weight of the topic that you're going to discuss, but the advisable one is 15 slides. Next principle is that you have to choose a font style that your audience can read from a distance. The first principle is about minimization. The second one is about simplicity and understandability. The goal of your presentation is that audience can easily read them. And if you just pick according to what is aesthetic or beautiful to you, then you are actually not doing it for your audience but for yourself only. So there is a time for those aesthetic font, but for presentations, make it very simple. I usually use Arial because it's big and the strokes are very simple. And it's easy to read even from afar. So the advisable is Arial, or if not Arial, Times New Roman. Very simple. For the next principle, Keep your text simple and minimize the amount of text on your slides. What you present in your slides are what you call this condensed content from what you have read online or through a book. So in short, you have to summarize them. And one way of summarizing them is by using bullets. Now, it's not advisable to copy the whole paragraph and paste it on the slide. You have to synthesize them, summarize, in order for you to easily give the gist of what you have read. So yeah, it all boils down again, this principle, it all boils down again to what you have understood. Because if you have understood a certain concept that you are about to present, then it means you can easily summarize them. And well, of course, we have to use art to help convey our message. Art does not just stop with pictures. Perhaps you might want to put videos or GIF, then it's up to you. And the art must be related with the content. So I just put an O there because it looks cute, but no reason at all why I put it there. Just need an image. So I'm sorry about that. Well, next is when it comes to using or making graphs, you have to make sure that the labels for charts and graphs are understandable. For example, in this graph, there's actually no title. It's just a sample graph. So most of the time, the title of the graph is located below the graph itself. Most of the time, it is short and simple. And a sentence, just one sentence will do. And remember, guys, that when you do your um, labels for your graphs and chart, make sure that your what do you call this, your label is not very wordy. Double check the grammar, of course. And make slide backgrounds subtle and keep them consistent. The reason why we create slide is for your audience, for our audience to easily understand our message, what we are trying to convey. Now, it will disturb your presentation if the background is more interesting than the content. So you have to turn it around, make sure that the background is subtle and consistent. When I say subtle and consistent, the slides have this certain unity in them. And when we say subtlety, do not over decorate it. Do not over decorate your presentation. And I think this one is pretty self-explanatory because it's I know that you're practicing this one ever since. Use high contrast between background color and text color. This is again related to the earlier principle that you have to make the slide background subtle and consistent, because when it comes to presentations, in order for your audience to understand what you've been trying to say, then the text must contrast with the background. So if you're planning to use a white background for your presentation, then pick a darker color like black or brown depending on your preferences. And for the last principle, you have to double check the grammar and the spelling of the words in your presentation to make sure that what you are presenting are well thought out and the content is correct. So of course, double check the grammar and then the content. Last one, and last reminder, when it comes to doing presentation, I hope that you will not forget the guides that was presented here. I hope that you will be able to use them in the future. That's it for today's topic. I hope you learned something from our discussion. And if ever you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.